5.5. I enjoyed big rating success, all because of people like you who's in this room. I say that out of gratitude, not out of boasting. I do have a website called Palm Beach Live, Work, Play, which is all about why Palm Beach County is the best place to live, work, and play. So I invite you to check that out. And I also have a voiceover company for voiceovers of all kinds, commercials, narrations, and such. So that's for you who don't know me. I just wanted to give you a little background on me. We're glad you're here. I'm going to not be rude, but turn my back on you because we have some official business now to take care of. Candidates, welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you here. We're going to introduce you in alphabetical order according to the last name. First of all, Melissa McKinley. Second of all, Michelle V. Santa Maria. And third of all, Andrew Schaller. Welcome. Each candidate will receive 3 minutes to introduce yourselves. We will have a timer. Please try to be cognizant of that. 6 questions total from yours truly, the moderator. We'll ask each candidate the same question. You'll have 1 minute to answer. And as Mr. Dom said earlier, upon conclusion, 2 minutes for closing comments for each candidate. Again, please be aware of the timer. And at the end of it all, you're free to mix, mingle, shake hands, and do what candidates are supposed to do. So, Melissa McKinley, your 3 minutes have started now.
Oh, thank you. Mike, I miss Kathy being here because she was always the first one with the last name Foster. Good evening, Melissa McKinley. I'm your Democratic nominee for the County Commission. Thank you everyone in the room who supported me in the primary. I got into this race 14 months ago. I'm very happy to be here at the last candidate forum. It's been a long 14 months. But I'm also happy that I'm finishing off these forums in the place where I started my service in this community, and that's Wellington. I moved to Wellington in 2004. I came from Sarasota, and my former husband, who's an attorney, was offered a job here. We had 11 days to move. And that was with 3 children at that time who were 3, 4, and 6 years old. So in 11 days, I had to pack up a house and 3 kids and a husband at the time and find a place to move without a whole lot of time to do research. And after a quick research and talking to friends, we decided to settle on Wellington because it was the best community we thought in Palm Beach County to raise children with the best schools, and that's what moved us here. And also the village's commitment to our local public schools and their grants program, which is one of the only ones in the nation. So that moved us here. And when the moment I moved here, I became involved in the community. I volunteered at my children's school over at Equestrian Trails, over 100 hours a year in the school, from PTA to the school advisory committee to class mom. Very proud of all of that work. Volunteered with the American Cancer Society's Wellington Division, and was appointed at that time by now Senator Benaquisto, to serve on the Wellington Education Advisory Board, where we fought to try to maintain that grant program and improve our schools. Was also instrumental in making sure a reliever school was built for Equestrian Trails Elementary, which at the time my kids went there. One of the classrooms was an old janitor's closet. That's where they taught music because the school at that time was the most overcrowded school in Palm Beach County. And thankfully, after years of advocating, we got Everglades Elementary School built. So very proud of my commitment and my ties to the Wellington community. Very happy now to be living in Royal Palm Beach and raising my children there. I bring to the table over 20 years of experience as a community volunteer and as a public servant at all 3 levels of government. I've worked at the federal level for a member of Congress and also for our United States Senator Bill Nelson. I've worked at the state level of the Florida Department of Community Affairs and also the state legislature. And I've also worked not only for Sarasota County, but for the past 4.5 years, I've been working in Palm Beach County's Legislative Affairs Office, where I've been a part of the advocacy team that goes up to Tallahassee, and we have lobbied hard and fought for funding, for roads, for water improvement, and for workforce development, and I'm very happy to be in this race. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Michelle V. Santa Maria, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Michelle Santamaria. I'm a local girl, was raised here since I was 9 months old, went to Wellington Elementary and all of the local schools. I have a law degree, a master's in business administration, and a finance undergraduate degree. I went to the #1 trial advocacy school in the nation, whereafter I came back to my hometown, right here in Palm Beach County, to fight crime as one of your assistant state attorneys. I did that for several years, and while I was a prosecutor, I noticed occasionally witnesses would have issues on the stand. We teach law enforcement witnesses how to shoot a gun, how to collect evidence, how to write a report. But if they can't effectively articulate themselves on the witness stand, we lose the cases and the defendants are back on the streets to reoffend and have more victims like yourselves. So in order to prevent that, I came up with my own program. I designed my own curriculum for law enforcement witnesses and testifying in court to prevent them from being back out on the streets and having you as victims. I started it locally, right here in Palm Beach County. It spread throughout the United States, and within 2 years, I was training FBI agents. I'm really proud of the accomplishments I've done and the insights I've learned as a criminal prosecutor. Now, my goal is to continue my family tradition and protect the quality of life that we've grown to love and that I grew up here in Palm Beach County with. But we've also got to make sure that we've got honesty in government. I'm 100% committed to representing the people of this community. Now, some of you may not know, I'm running as no party affiliate. It's nothing new. I've always been no party affiliate. I didn't switch to it. I've always been that way. And when I decided to run, there were some people who had advised me, you know, if you want to have a chance at winning, you can't run as a no party affiliate. You have to pick a brand new party, either Republican or Democrat. But either way, if you want to win, you've got to pick a party. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be true to myself, and I'm going to stay no party affiliate. I know it's a tougher road, but that's the whole point, to be independent and not be in debt to a party, and instead to represent truly you, the people of this community. Thank you.
And next, Andrew Shepard.
Thank you to the Chamber and everyone participating tonight. We don't get enough of this type of opportunity, so thank you. My name is Andy Schaller. I came to Palm Beach County in 1987. I chose the Western communities in 1990 and I bought my first house at 25 years old. I then re-upped my investment into Wellington itself in 1999, and in 2004 I invested in another home and my retirement income for the future in the worst equestrian industry. That's why I'm here. It wasn't a split-second decision. It was many years of a decision, and it's a decision that I look to get deeper into, more investment into my community. I'm very proud to say that I did not have to come back to the Western communities to run for this job. I did not come back to this area for an increase in pay. I came here and I'm running because of the fact, I should say I live here and I'm running because of the fact that I care. I own an electronic banking company that's 20 years old. I've handled more than 550 businesses across the U.S. and Puerto Rico. In the last 20 years, I have never raised my rates one time in 20 years. I haven't advertised for business in 17 years, and I do not now and never had a contract. My word is my worth, and if I were to do something wrong that would cause somebody to want to leave my business, they're free to go and I would help them. More often than not, through attrition, somehow or another, my customers find their way back to me. I'm very proud of that. In the last 6.5 years, I've spent more time in every county commission meeting you could possibly think of in any one given month than the combination of all the other candidates combined for the entire 6-year process. I have 27 years of handling other people's money, more than $1 billion in my present company, and a ton of money as a stockbroker, financial consultant before that. I have what it takes to be fiscally responsible with your tax dollars. And I have the ability to apply that the way I have designed all the software in my own business with logic to then apply that to the governing policies of your money. If you look on paper, there's only 2 things that the county commission really does. They set the fiscal policy and the governing policy based upon that fiscal spending. It's not even a comparison when you look at all of us as to what the true qualifications for the county commission are. Thank you.
remind you again, each candidate will get the same question. And we will rotate who gets the question first with each question. Question number 1 goes to Melissa. Palm Beach County's unemployment rate is 12.4%. What would you do as county commissioner to stimulate economic growth and the creation of jobs in this district, including the Glades?
Well, the unemployment rate in some areas of the Glades hovers around 40% still, even though we've seen some economic recovery across the nation and in Florida and in Palm Beach County. So they haven't been as fortunate as the rest of the area in seeing that change. One of the most important things we need to do to stimulate the economy, especially in the Glades, is improve the infrastructure. Without adequate roads and without adequate water supply, they're not going to bring any manufacturing or big industry out to that area. Our water pipes out there, while the county has started to do some replacement in those, you're still looking at water pipes. For every dollar we invest in cleaning water, we're putting about 38 cents now back into the ground because they look like Swiss cheese. So you're not going to be able to do anything with the economy until you start improving that infrastructure.
And the same question again. I'll pose it each time for each candidate. Palm Beach County's unemployment is 12.4%. What would you do as county commissioner to stimulate economic growth and the creation of jobs in this district, including the Glades? Michelle.
I would work together with the Business Development Board to help bring jobs to the Glades area. There are certain areas of the Glades that are phenomenal resources that we can tap into. One specifically is Lake Okeechobee. It's a phenomenal area. If you've ever been out there, or if you haven't, go check it out, where we could set up a resort-type facility to bring. It's world-class fishing over there, and we need to promote it even more so that we can get people out there. I would also partner up with our District 6 School Board member, Marcia Andrews, as far as job training. We can get the jobs out into the Glades area with incentives to businesses to make it more enticing as to why they want to be there. But let's also prepare the workforce through job training and the school board district so that we can have people who are equipped for when those jobs are there.
Andrew, I'll repeat it for you just like I did everybody else. Palm Beach County's unemployment rate is 12.4%. What would you do as county commissioner to stimulate economic growth and the creation of jobs in this district, including the Glades?
Okay, two specifics, or two generalities, one specific. Number 1, until the Army Corps of Engineer opens up Route 2, which is basically the shipping lane, when funds are available to finish repairing the lake, then we can move forward and look at that, but that's not in the foreseeable future. A little bit more generically, Palm Beach County was a huge employment base at one time. IBM, Motorola, Siemens, places like that. There was an environment that was conducive to be able to have that type of industry, that type of corporations here, and I believe that our present governor is making that environment friendly once again. Specifically, I own a horse barn. I'm supportive of the Winter Equestrian Festival. I would like to bring a division of the University of Florida here. There's no reason our equestrians should have to bounce a horse all the way up to Ocala, and we have the agricultural here in the Glades to support their agricultural business goal as well.
Thank you very much. Question number 2, and we will start with Michelle on this one. Do you support the creation of a medical arts district in Wellington? If yes, why? If no, why not?
The Medical Arts District in Wellington has already come up before the County Commission, and they were supposed to provide jobs. They had a certain number of years to do that. That has expired since then. No jobs were created. So I'm open to the idea, but it's a good thing to have deadlines, because it's one thing to make promises. You can promise all day long, but if you're not producing results, there's a problem with that. We increase the value of the property and there's no jobs. Well, that was the whole incentive for changing what the property was meant for. So I think it's something that I'm open to, but we have to be more deliberate and intelligent and definitely have deadlines so that people deliver on their promises.
Thank you. Andrew, do you support the creation of a medical arts district in Wellington? If yes, why? If no, why not?
I do support it. The plan that was in front of everyone a few years ago involved a number of different property owners. And it's very hard in the private world to say when the right time is to make that move if it's being dictated by the government. When you're in the business of making a profit, you react to market conditions. We saw a downturn in the economy around 2008, 2010 in real estate. So while I support the idea, it's market-driven demand that will allow us to say when that opportunity is upon us to strike with real investor dollars. So if the plan is put in place and it is approved and there is a collective group of property owners who do want to have that same similar mindset and to create that project, then it just gets down to a matter of dollars and cents with economic conditions saying when the right time is. That's not something you can dictate from government.
And Melissa, do you support the creation of a medical arts district in Wellington? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
Yes, I support that district, and I think that Wellington has struggled for years on efforts to try to diversify the local economy. They're so well known for their equestrian industry, but that's seasonal. Even though we're making efforts and taking strides to make that not such a seasonal atmosphere anymore, but they need to diversify the economy here, and that is something that I would continue to support.
Thank you very much. All right, third question, as we promised, we'll rotate, so we'll start with you on this one, Andrew. What do you believe constitutes corruption in government and why?
It's a broad term, because sometimes something that may be legal may be immoral. Let's start with the candidates themselves. When somebody feels that they're bigger than the environment, meaning the constituents, that they're people that are supposed to be governing over, when somebody feels that they are an individual and not part of the body or representing the body, it starts from the very first day they start campaigning. And anybody that elects that into office is asking for that mentality to spread further through the governing time. Corruption is anything that doesn't make sense for the greatest good for the greatest number. It's not always what's in your best interest, but it's in the best interest of the people that you've elected. And any time a mindset comes with I instead of we or us, that's corruption.
Thank you. Melissa, I'll repeat the question. What do you believe constitutes corruption in government and why?
Well, anything that breaks the law is corruption in government. Whether that law is a state statute, federal code, county ordinance, the policies and procedure manual that the county has, anything that breaks, anything that's been codified is corruption. And I think that Palm Beach County certainly had its issues back in the day, and the grand jury came out with suggestions, and our current county commissioner has done a good job in advocating for the ethics commission and for the inspector general, and I would continue to carry that torch. Those two entities have been put in place, and I think that they're operating well. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but we have to let them do their job before we can see the areas that need to be improved. But I certainly think that the mechanisms have been put in place and Palm Beach County is moving forward, and that we need to stop emphasizing the word corruption in front of Palm Beach County and start emphasizing the good. Because as someone who's been advocating in Tallahassee and in DC, it hurts us up there. And I do think that we're doing a good job.
Thank you. And Melissa.
Michelle.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Michelle and saying
All
Michelle.
the time.
What do you believe constitutes corruption in government and why?
Corruption in government is taking actions that are contrary to what the majority of the people want and for the good of the people. Sacrificing the people for special interests or individual interests. We all, elected officials, are to represent what the majority of the people want. Corruption occurs when the interests of a few special interests, or any special interests, take precedence over what the people want.
Thank you very much. We've done a full rotation. This is question number 4, so now we'll start with Melissa. What do you believe that you can do as a local political leader to bring together all elements of the community to create a better quality of life for all the residents of this community?
You know, one of the areas that I excel in is being able to pull people together that don't necessarily agree, and being able to get them to focus on what's important and put their differences aside for the greater good of the community. An example of that would be the Butterfly House project that I worked on with Senator Benaquisto, when you had a very conservative member of the legislature sitting at the same table as Planned Parenthood and the National Organization of Women. They never really saw eye to eye on a number of issues. They put those differences aside. I led that team, and we were able to open up the first-rate treatment center that Palm Beach County has had, a one-stop place for victims to go. So being able to put your differences aside, focus on the end game, and get done what needs to be done for the better of the community, that's how we need to work. Regardless if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're a business member or a union member, we all need to be sitting around the table and come to a consensus and move forward.
Thank you. Michelle, what do you believe that you can do as a local political leader to bring together all elements of the community to create a better quality of life for all the residents of this community?
First, we've got to listen to the people and follow what the people want. Second, in order to protect the quality of life that we have, in District 6, where we all are right now, one of the largest issues that we're facing in the next many years is growth and development. We're the area, District 6, compared to the rest of the districts, where there's room for growth. And growth and development is going to occur. It's inevitable. It's just like technology and our cell phones. It's going to happen. What's critical for each of us to be aware of and to ensure is that that development is intelligent, responsible, and compatible. You don't want to sacrifice the residents who live here, you all, for the residents who are in the future and who are yet to come. We've got to protect all of you who are here first and your quality of life. So growth and development is going to happen. Let's just keep it responsible, intelligent, and compatible.
Thank you. Andrew, once again for you, what do you believe that you can do as a local political leader to bring together all elements of the community to create a better quality of life for all the residents of this community?
That starts with district representation. You need to be available to the public that you want to represent. You need to open up the Glades office that has not been opened in the last 5 years. You need to have knowledge of the county and the county system before you walk in the first day. You need to be able to draw upon your life successes, the things you've done both financially and you've done community-wise. You need to be able to apply those life and governmental experiences to everyone who comes before you. When you have a long agenda, it may be just another item to you sitting as the board, but it may be the most important item of the day, of the year, of somebody's life when it comes before you. You have to be able to listen and have to apply. But more importantly, what I know I can do through knowledge brings incredible power. All 7 county commissioners vote on all 7 issues. You have to be very well educated to convince 3 others that your way, your line of thinking, or your approach is the best way. I can do that and have done it.
All right, thank you very much. Question number 5, we'll start with Michelle. What attributes do you bring to the table that would make you a better representative of this area than your opponents?
I get along with all types of people, whether you are the CEO of a company or if you are the janitor. I pride myself on that ability, which I learned from my father here, who's in the audience tonight. Wherever you are, I love listening to people and hearing what their stories are. It doesn't matter, you can always learn from information. I don't believe that my way is the highway, it's the best way. I always am open to new information, because perhaps you have information that I was not aware of, and that might change my mind. So I think an effective leader is one that has information, has a plan, but is never closed off, who's always open to learning from everyone. Not just the president, not just the CEO, but even the person who is the cleaning lady, because they might have greater insight than the president because they never see that situation.
Thank you. Andrew, question 5. What attributes do you bring to the table that would make you a better representative of this area than your opponents?
There's only 2 reasons people get involved in politics. One is to do something, and the second is to be something. I've done a lot of somethings, and I can apply them. If you look at my resume and what I've done for a life and a lifestyle, it's the most well-rounded and most pointed towards the job of being county commissioner. I'm the only one up here who's had 27 years or any years of handling other people's money with direct responsibility falling onto my shoulders. I'm the only one who ever has gone through the last 6 years of the county commission, where I went through 13 county commissioners, 5 chairs, and 2 mayors to be able to build a unanimous consensus to have the county right the wrongs of something that they had done for the first time in 100 years. I've built a consensus. I've done that. I've been through the process. And if you're most concerned about your tax dollars, look at our personal financial track records. I'm proud of mine. I'm not sure what you'd find in the others.
All right, Melissa, what attributes do you bring to the table that would make you a better representative of this area than your opponents?
You know, being a successful leader is being diplomatic, being pragmatic, understanding what most of the families in the area are going through, because you are a family in the area. You know, someone told me one time, actually it was my uncle, who passed away a few years ago, and he said that the most effective thing you can do is be able to build relationships. And I am very good at building relationships. This district is going to need somebody who can get along with elected officials in all of the municipalities in the district. I already have their support. It's going to take somebody who can get along with our federal leaders. I already have their support. It's going to take somebody who can get along and work with the legislature. Not only the members in our delegation, but the leadership in the legislature. I already have those relationships. Being able to maximize our local property tax dollar with state and federal revenue so the burden doesn't rest on the shoulder of all of our local taxpayers. I can do that, I've done it. So I think that's what separates me from my opponents.
Question number 6, and we'll start with Andrew. Do you support the inland port, and what, if anything, can you do to make it a reality?
Inland port is a private venture. I support the concept, but if anybody has ever done any real study into an inland port, the key to an inland port working is the amount of rail system and the distance that that rail system can travel to other destination points. If you look at the most successful inland port, you have to go up around the Virginia area, where the freight comes in from the shipping, floating shipping, and then is moved across country in other directions. I think it's fantastic. A wonderful idea, as long as it doesn't turn out to be a private venture under the eyes of a public-private partnership, as long as it actually can accomplish the things that it says that it can. It's never going to be the rail line, there isn't the rail access to it that other large-scale inland ports can be. I support anything that creates jobs, and I obviously support anything where private industry puts their own money. They have a vested interest in making it happen.
All right. Melissa, do you support the inland port, and what, if anything, can you do to make it a reality?
Well, let's call it what it is now. It's actually been referred to as the Inland Logistics Center because people are getting confused about it being the seaport. Yes, I support it wholeheartedly. It's estimated to create 10,000 jobs sometime over the next 20 years. Florida Crystals is handling this. So we need to be able to help them provide the infrastructure that's needed to bring that online. Governor Scott was down here just over a year ago looking at that site, and he said, you know, if you get somebody who wants to come in and occupy the space that you're about to build, then, you know, I will have state support for you too. So having those relationships, again, at the state level is key. But, you know, first and foremost, if that comes and you bring 10,000 jobs, you're still looking at a community where the workforce, you've got to be able to keep the kids out of trouble so they don't get felony records, and then that prohibits them from being employable. So I've talked to the business community and told them, we need the business community to be invested in prevention programs for our kids so that they can take those jobs and we can continue to improve the economic condition in the place.
Thank you. Michelle, do you support the inland port, and what, if anything, can you do to make it a reality?
I do support the concept of any business that is going to provide jobs to the Glades area, which is in desperate need of them. However, keep in mind, we've got to monitor that. The inland port and the idea of it, in order to get it to be the inland port, there are many promises made. Promises of jobs, jobs, jobs. But to this day, there's no jobs yet. That's why it's so important that we have to have follow-through deadlines with it. I think that we should partner up with the Business Development Board, who has had their focus on other areas, and help them, help the Glades community to bring in the jobs. Anything that will help bring jobs, whether it is providing incentives to businesses to the Glades area that desperately needs those jobs, I would support.
We've just had two late add-on questions here. So we'll start rotation back with you, Melissa. Do you support or oppose the extension of 441 north of Okeechobee Boulevard?
I support the extension of State Road 7. There has been some concern stated by the city of West Palm Beach about protecting the quality of their water supply. They have asked the federal government to come in and do an extended environmental impact study. The U.S. Department of Transportation said that the State Department of Transportation study was adequate enough. Mayor Taylor has requested an expedited meeting with the Federal Highway Administration in order to get a certification, basically, that that study was complete. I've talked with the mayor, and I've told her, I said, you know, I did support your request at an environmental impact study. I think that issue's been resolved. But when it comes back and it said that the road is ready to be built, I will not support any effort at litigation to block the extension of that road.
Thank you. Michelle, do you support or oppose the extension of 441 north of Okeechobee Boulevard?
Yes, I do support the extension of the road. However, as long as it doesn't negatively affect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. There has been some concern over that. No study has shown any evidence of that. However, if a study were to find that it did affect the water system and the health of the people, then we would have to find another way.
Andrew, do you support or oppose the extension of 441 north of Okeechobee Boulevard?
And it is State Road 7, 441 runs west on Southern. I do support the State Road 7 extension. There is a cost involved with that, though. Right now, all the different traffic studies for Minto, Avenir, GL Homes, Iota Carroll, Highland Dunes, would love to have that road through immediately because it makes all of their traffic performance studies look that much better. So while I do support it now, it's again a matter of timing. If it was opened up right now, then everybody coming before the board, including Minto in 2 days, will have that ability to point at that and say, see, there is no such as much congestion as was brought forward before. So I do support it. Just be careful as to timing when it comes through, because that will mean that it opens the door, which means we have to be diligent on limiting overdevelopment so that doesn't happen.
Thank you. Next question, we'll start with Michelle. Do you support or oppose the granting of development rights in the agriculture district?
The Ag Reserve has been voted overwhelmingly by you, the people, and all the residents of Palm Beach County to protect that land. I support that we keep what the people wanted, which is keeping the Ag Reserve reserved and not overdeveloping the area.
Andrew, do you support or oppose the granting of development rights in the agricultural district?
I support keeping it what was the will of the people when the bond money was floated in order to keep it the Ag Reserve, with possibly one little exception. I sat down with the county when a number of owners came forward and said, if you have a tractor that works that area, there is no place to fix your tractor. You have to bring it down, the gentleman said, to Davie. The only caveat to changing anything would be something that is a direct support to the agricultural industry. If your tractor breaks down, you shouldn't have to put it on the truck and drive it down to Davie. I don't advocate a truck stop, I don't advocate an industrial repair yard, but I do advocate some sort of support to the farmers right there in that area to have something fixed immediately. Once again, it's a cost savings, cost benefit.
Melissa, do you support or oppose the granting of development rights in the agriculture district?
My opinion is actually pretty similar to Andy's opinion. There are some tweaks that need to be made to the program. There's some of the nursery owners there, but more importantly, there are packing houses in that area that would like to enlarge and be able to keep their operations here locally. They can't enlarge under the current language in the program. Some USDA food safety requirements call for expanded space in these packing houses in order to keep certain processes separate. They can't do that. So we do need to make some tweaks to the program because as it's written, we may risk losing jobs in the county. I don't want to see that happen.
All right, you have completed all of the questions that have been submitted so far, so we come back to the original rotation again. Closing comments will be 2 minutes. And Madonna, thank you very much for your good work with the time clock tonight. And Melissa, we'll start with you.
I was the third child, I always have to go last, so I'll be going first. There are a few people I'd like to thank in the audience tonight for supporting me from the very beginning, and that would be Mayor Margolis, Councilman Green, Councilman Wilhite, Drew Rayburn from the firefighters is here, Representative Mark Packwood snuck in the back there. They have been supportive and endorsed my campaign, and I'm very thankful for that. I have been very humbled to receive the support from our U.S. Senator, our U.S. representatives, or members of the legislature. I have bipartisan support from the unions and from the business community, from members of the Indian Trail Improvement District to the City of West Palm Beach. All of these entities that typically don't see eye to eye have gotten behind my campaign. And I think because they see somebody that will be open to fresh ideas, that is not coming into this seat with any agendas or preconceived notions, but just somebody that will be fair and give everybody the same chance. I want to thank my kids for standing behind me. They are 16, 14, and 13. One of the main reasons I got into this race was to improve the opportunities for all of our children, especially the children in the Glades, who should have the same opportunities as our kids on the east side of town have. The same roads, the same parks, the same libraries, the same schools. We need to close the gap in the inequality that we have in this county. This seat, there are many people in this area that feel they have not been adequately represented for the last 8 years. I want to be a commissioner who's representing every single person in this district across socioeconomic lines and industries. And I just want to thank everybody for everything they've done in the campaign. Very proud to be sitting up here tonight and at our final forum. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Michelle, 2 minutes starting now.
Thank you so much for having us here tonight. Really appreciate it. The main thing I want to leave you with is for you to know that I'm 100% committed to representing you, the people of this district, and Palm Beach County in general. Whatever happens, my two goals will always remain the same. Making sure to maintain honesty in government and protecting the quality of life that I grew up with and that you all came here for. Thank you.
Andrew?
4 years ago, I sat in the old village chambers and had the same opportunity to address this community. At that time, I said I was fully invested in that community, and I still am. It's just 4 more years later. Never really stopped, quote, running for office, because running for office is getting the education. It's putting the time and devotion. It's sinking the roots into the community. I didn't come here for a job. I'm not trying to look to move to the next level. This is the level that I've chosen. This is the area where I've made my forever home twice, and I've not sold either one. I vested myself into this community, and I invested myself into this community. I love this place. I'm not going anywhere. I don't believe that there's been a candidate in a long time that can bring their background the way that I can to make everything start working the way it should work the very first day. I have the respect of the other people on the county commission. I know I do. They built unanimous consensus. They did something they hadn't done before. They reversed their poor decisions unanimously. I'm a businessman who knows what it is to pay the payroll, pay the taxes. I think there's a lot of waste in government, and I think we have never determined our real level of needs and not necessarily wants. That's what I bring forth. Remember, 550 businesses over 20 years. I've never had a contract. My word is my worth. A handshake is the deal. I ask for your support on November 4th or sooner. I ask that you allow me to start working from day one, because neither of the other candidates have the experience that I do. That's not bragging, that's battle scars, because I desire to help. I'm dug in, and I'm not going anywhere. Thanks for making this a wonderful community. It is my home, and has been for 20-some years.
Thank you, Andrew Schaller, Michelle Santa Maria, Melissa McKinley, for your time. Audience, you may give them all a round of applause.